Él no habla mucho, pero yo creo que sí habla, pero él no se siente.
Yeah, whatever you guys want to do.
I prefer English. I mean, English is
English
my
is
first
fine.
language.
Okay.
Si algo se me atora, Cristo me habla.
I'm better in English, if that's okay.
Okay.
Do you prefer to do all of the interviews in English?
No, I can do Spanish. I can do either. If there's some that are just definitely prefer Spanish, I can do
Okay.
Spanish. But if it's,
¿Así me siento?
Sí.
si es igual,
Yo
prefiero
voy a hacer una
English.
entrevista para el primer impacto porque no puedo venir a realidad, pero it's going to be in Spanish.
Okay, perfecto.
Okay.
Qué bonito vestido, Cristo.
Ah, gracias, gracias.
Ustedes me dicen, ¿ok?
Let's make sure we're good. You rolling?
Yeah.
All right.
Speak.
Darren lived in Argentina for a year, so he speaks.
Argentina?
Yeah.
You can practice your Spanish with us.
It's been a while, but
You turn it.
tengo que practicar.
Sí.
Okay, guys, I saw the documentary yesterday, and it was awesome. I was moved. So I have two little children.
Oh, great.
And I would like them to be. They didn't see it. I think they will be bored because it's long and
Yeah.
too much technicalities. But it's something that every parent would like for their children. And my question is, do you think this type of programs are also for kids in disadvantaged areas, Los Angeles, all around the world, not only Los Angeles but around the world?
Definitely. I think, you know, what we wanted to show, I was a science fair competitor myself for 2 years, and it totally changed my life. And I wouldn't be here for sure. I mean, well, I wouldn't have done a science fair movie if it weren't for a science fair, but it changed my life, and it opened my world and reinforced my ideas and gave me much more confidence. So I think it's a very important program, and so this project was kind of like a love letter to the science fair world, a celebration of science. And I don't think enough kids from disadvantaged backgrounds have access to this amazing program, but there are some that make it, and some of our characters in the movie, some of the kids in the movie are from, like Milena and Gabrielle are from a small poor town in the middle of Brazil, and despite all of their disadvantages, they win their national fair and make it to ISEF, the International Science and Engineering Fair, and for them it's totally life-changing. And so I think the more kids from more different backgrounds that could participate, the better it would be. And I think Dr. McCullough, who's in the movie, also has made it one of her life goals to expand access to these fairs to people from different backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think as one of the Brazilian scientists in our film says, a great idea can come from anywhere. All they need is an opportunity. And I think, one of the things that we want to show with the film is that, no matter where you come from, no matter what, color your skin is, what walk of life you come from, there are great ideas where you have great ideas, and, if you're just given the opportunity to pursue them, we'll all be better off. So it was, I think when the Brazilian scientist said that to us, it was just, the light bulb went off. It was just like, how many kids are we missing? How many ideas are we missing? Because, so all these brilliant minds are getting the same opportunity.
Mm-hmm. And really caught my attention that some of the people featured in the movie were winners, especially Evil.
Mm-hmm.
So is something you didn't know at the beginning, or how was it was developed with the movie?
Well, we were lucky that yes.
Yeah.
So we were lucky we had an inside track because of Christina's experience in the science fair. So we were able to identify some very strong projects and kids. We placed a lot of bets, hoping that we'd have one winner, because after all, this is a competition doc, and then we all want to see somebody win. But we really had no idea going into it how well some of our characters would do. But at the end of the day, the film isn't about winning or about winners, as Robbie, one of our characters, says. If you're going to participate in the science fair just to win, you're missing the point of science fair. Science fair is mostly, and the message behind science fair is that practicing science and the opportunity to practice science is in and of itself an important pursuit for young people, and we need to inspire young people and show them that science is a priority, despite the fact many of our leaders are actively undermining science. So it was really important for us to show that in these times the future is bright because of kids like this.
And tell me about Ivo. How do you know about him and how he came to be the winner of this?
Without giving any spoilers.
Yeah, Ivo is a brilliant young German boy who is obsessed with aeronautics and engineering. Obsessed, totally obsessed. His whole life he's been building model airplanes and flying them. And so Ivo took a very old model airplane, a very old model of an airplane that most engineers had discounted because it was unstable in flight and not very fuel efficient. And the single flying wing, that's it. So people don't use it. And he thought, well, there's still something there. Let me see if I can fix the problems with it. So he made it much more stable. He, I think, it can be 1/3 more fuel efficient and carry the same amount of weight as a different kind of airplane design that we use now. And so it's actually a very groundbreaking discovery that the science judges at the science fair really loved, and he did very well without giving anything away. But yeah, he's really funny. He's very serious. He takes his work very seriously. He's very German. It was a lot of fun hanging out with him.
At the end of the movie, he was like the smile, the belly fit his face.
Yeah, his parents said they didn't recognize him. They'd never seen him make that expression before when he won. Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not German. And so that means that there were more people who didn't make it into the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we probably tracked about a dozen kids throughout this process. And some of those kids didn't qualify for the fairs that we thought they might. Some of them fell off for other reasons. And then in edit, we actually had to sort of lose a couple of kids, unfortunately, just because of the mix and for time. But there are 1,700 kids from 78 different countries that participate in the International Science Fair, and every one of those kids would be worthy of a documentary. They're all just amazing. But we had to make some decisions, and that's how we wound up with these wonderful 9. So.
And talking about that, why we don't have some more projects like this one? We see a lot of documentary about nature, animals, but few about this type of spelling bee also. But about science are very, very few from my point of view. What do you think? Especially in which kids, so young, very young kids are portrayed.
Well, I think I think there's this perception that science can be boring, and actually Dr. Martin Lowe, who's he's now a jet propulsion engineer at NASA, and he was a former science fair winner. He told us when we were interviewing him that he thinks that scientists are bad salespeople sometimes for their own ideas, and it was important to us to make science fun and to make this movie fun. And so it's about science, but it's also watchable and interesting and very human. And it's about the human stories behind the science more than anything. So I think, we kind of have to shake this perception that sort of science stories are boring, because they don't have to be, and they're often super interesting. And we really hope that there will be more stories about science and the importance of scientists in America and the world.
Yeah, I think as documentary filmmakers, our mission is to make the important interesting. We just got very lucky with this film that the kids in it are so interesting and so compelling and so great to watch. But that's just because they're teenagers at the end of the day. They're brilliant minds, obviously, but they're also just very complex teenagers like every